Hey, my name is Ava, and I'm the responsible one, the good daughter, the one who never asked for anything and paid for everything. Which brings me to this story. Have you ever paid for your own celebration, just to end up as an extra in someone else's show? That's where I was, Perini's Steakhouse downtown Austin. The air conditioning was battling the Texas heat, and I was battling the urge to scream. I'd just graduated, summa cum laude, computer science, University of Texas. I booked this table. My name was on the credit card I'd already given the host. Across from me sat my parents, Mark and Susan, and my twin sister, Olivia, the golden child. To Ava, my father said, raising his glass. But his eyes immediately slid to Olivia, who was scrolling through Instagram. Another degree in the family. Well done. My mother chimed in. Yes, dear. We're so relieved you're finally done with all that studying. Relieved, not proud. I'd spent 4 years surviving on scholarships, energy drinks, and 2 coding jobs, while Olivia spent 4 years finding herself. Via yoga retreats and a pottery blog, all funded by Mom and Dad, I plastered on the smile I'd perfected over 22 years, the It's Fine smile. But the tension was so thick you could cut it with a steak knife. Olivia hadn't looked up from her phone once. My parents had spent the entire appetizer course talking about a new gallery Olivia had visited. Then, my father put his fork down. He tapped his champagne glass. Ding! 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 The chatter stopped. He was beaming, but not at me. His gaze was locked on Olivia. All right, he said, his voice booming with the pride I hadn't heard directed my way all day. Now, for the real announcement. To understand that dinner, you have to understand our family. Growing up in the Chicago suburbs, our house had a very clear solar system. My twin sister, Olivia, was the sun. My parents were the planets, orbiting her every whim. And I don't know, a distant moon. Maybe just a piece of space debris floating by. Olivia was the creative one, spontaneous, full of life. That was the code. It meant she was flighty, demanding, and incredibly expensive. When we were 16, Olivia decided she was going to be a photographer. My parents bought her a $2,000 Canon camera setup. She used it for 3 weeks, then declared the medium was limiting. The camera sat in her closet collecting dust. The same year, I won the Illinois State Coding Championship. My prize was a $10,000 scholarship. When I told my parents, my father nodded, said, "Atta girl," and then asked me if I could help him figure out why the new router, which Olivia had to have for her blogging, kept cutting out. That was the pattern. Olivia's interests were celebrated. My achievements were expected. When I got a full-ride scholarship to Utah-Austin, my mother's only comment was, "Oh good, that's a huge saving for us." She was right. It saved them thousands, which they promptly rerouted into funding Olivia's gap year. In Southeast Asia, after she decided college wasn't her vibe right away. So while I was in Austin, pulling all-nighters for my data structures class, I was also getting texts from Olivia from a beach in Bali, asking me to spot her. A few $100 for a scuba certification, and I'd send it. Because that's what I did. I was the family ATM, the therapist, the 24/7 tech support, and the emotional dumping ground. I wasn't just a student. I was working. I wasn't just coding. For class, I was doing freelance database management for small businesses. On top of that, I was a TA for a freshman-level programming course. My parents knew I had jobs. They just called it good experience. They never asked what I made. They didn't care. They only cared that when my mom called me, crying because Olivia had gone dark for a week, she was at a meditation retreat, I turned out, I was the one who had to calm her down. When my dad's car needed new tires, he didn't dip into Olivia's travel fund. He called me, just to borrow the money. For 4 years, I juggled 3 lives. My public life, as a top student. My secret life, as a well-paid freelance developer. And my family life, as the reliable daughter who always picked up the phone and always paid the bill. I told myself that it was worth it, that one day, There would be a tipping point. One day, I'd achieve something so big, so undeniable, that they'd finally have to stop orbiting Olivia and just see me. That's what this graduation was supposed to be. Summa cum laude from a top-tier university. A piece of paper that said, I did it. So as I sat at that steakhouse, the one I paid for, and heard my father say, now for the real announcement, I felt that old familiar coldness settle in. I had crossed the finish line, and they hadn't even bothered to look up from the stands. My dad, Mark, looked like a kid on Christmas morning. He was practically vibrating with excitement. As you all know, he started, and I immediately felt my stomach clench. Family announcements were never about me. Your mother and I have always believed in investing in our children's futures. I almost laughed. Children. Plural. He reached under the table and pulled out a sleek white box. It wasn't gift-wrapped. It was a new laptop box. A 16-inch MacBook Pro, the most expensive one. He slid it across the table to Olivia. Olivia's eyes, finally detached from her phone, went wide. Oh my God! Is that the M3 Max chip? Fully loaded. For your creative residency in Berlin? My mom, Susan, chimed in. Olivia squealed, the kind of high-pitched sound that usually meant she'd gotten exactly what she demanded. Berlin? It's happening? I just sat there, fork halfway to my mouth. Berlin? What's in Berlin? My father waved his hand dismissively. We'll get to that. But first, he turned to me. The big smile faded into a polite one. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small, flimsy greeting card, the kind you buy at a gas station. He handed it to me. This is for you, sweetie. We're so proud of your hard work. I opened it. Inside, tucked into the fold, was a $100 Visa gift card. The message, scrawled in my mother's handwriting, read, Congrats, Ava. Don't spend it all in one place, $100, after 4 years of academic excellence, after paying for this very meal. We're a little tight right now, honey, my mom said, giving me that look. The don't you dare be ungrateful look. You understand? I didn't say anything. I just stared at the card. It wasn't the money. It was the insult. It was the complete blinding lack of awareness. It was the fact that my sister's new laptop cost, $4,000? While my entire college achievement was worth $100. And now for the big news, my dad announced, turning back to the star of the show, Olivia. We did it, Liv. We're funding your residency. A full year in Berlin. We found you an amazing loft apartment, and it's all paid for, plus your stipend, so you can just create. Olivia was crying real tears now. Mom, Dad, thank you. You're giving me my dream. They were all hugging. A perfect family portrait. I was just the photographer, watching from the outside. I finally found my voice. It sounded small, rusty. How? I thought. Mom, you just said you were tight. My dad chuckled. He actually chuckled, as if I'd asked a silly, childish question. Well, that's the genius part, he said. We realized we were sitting on all this equity, so we took out a small HELOC, a home equity line of credit. My blood went cold. You took out a new loan? On the house? It's an investment, Ava. My mother said sharply. An investment in your sister's future. Her art is going to take off, we just know it. And then my father delivered the final blow. He leaned forward, conspiratorially, as if he was letting me in on a fun secret. And here's the best part. With that new high-paying tech job you've got lined up, he hadn't even asked where I was working. He just knew it paid well. You can easily pitch in to help us cover the new monthly payments. We figured, say, $1,500 a month? It's nothing for a big-shot programmer like you. We're a team, right? We all pull together. He smiled. They all smiled at me, expectant. They weren't asking. They were telling me. They had signed me up for a new permanent job, paying for my sister's dream. My graduation dinner wasn't a celebration. It was an invoice. I just sat there. I let their words hang in the air of that expensive restaurant. $1,500 a month. We're a team. An investment in your sister's future. I looked at my mother's excited face. I looked at my father's proud, oblivious smile. I looked at Olivia, who was already Googling best clubs in Berlin on her new $4,000 laptop. And I realized something. They had no idea. They had absolutely no idea who I was, what I'd done, or what they had just thrown away. You see, my family saw me as Ava, the good student. Ava, the reliable one. Ava, the tech nerd. They didn't see the truth. For the last 2 years, I wasn't just freelancing to get experience. That's what I told them because it was easier. The truth? I was building a company. It started as my junior year project. A complex routing algorithm to optimize last-mile delivery for small businesses. I called it Pathfinder. It was good. Really good. I used my TA money and the freelance cash to hire 2 other students. We built a beta. We got local Austin businesses to try it. It worked. It saved them on average 30% in fuel and time costs. My parents thought I was just tinkering with code. Olivia called it my boring nerd hobby. 6 months ago, that boring nerd hobby got the attention of a major logistics corporation based in Portland, Oregon, one of the biggest in the country. They didn't just want the app, they wanted the algorithm, and they wanted me to come and integrate it into their global system. We'd been in negotiations for months. I flew to Portland twice. I told my parents it was for a university conference. They didn't even ask for details. The deal closed 6 weeks ago. They didn't just offer me a job, they bought Pathfinder. The whole thing, no one wants it to be seen, and it certainly wasn't fair.
Oh, what's the way?
They didn't do that. The final sale price, after legal fees and paying my 2 partners, left my bank account with a number that still makes me feel sick to my stomach. It was just over $2.20 million. My new high-paying tech job that starts on Monday isn't some entry-level coning position. It's Senior Project Manager, Logistics Integration. The starting salary alone is more than both my parents make in a year, combined. I'd sat in my tiny Austin apartment for a week, just staring at my banking app. It didn't feel real. What do you do with that kind of money at 22? The first thing I thought of wasn't a car. It wasn't a trip. It was them. It was that house in the Chicago suburbs. The house they were so proud of. The one I knew they were still struggling to pay for. I'd heard them whispering about the mortgage for years. How tight things were. It's why I never asked for anything. It's why I always sent money home when they borrowed it. So, I did something. I made a call. I found out the remaining balance on their original mortgage. It was $114,219.50. 3 weeks ago, I made a single wire transfer. I paid it all off. I wanted, for once in my life, to give them a gift. A real one. I wanted them to be free. I wanted my dad to stop stressing about his retirement. I wanted my mom to stop clipping coupons. I thought if I did that, they would finally see me. In my purse, right next to my wallet, was a plain white legal envelope. Inside it wasn't a $100 gift card. It was the deed of reconveyance from the bank. The legal proof, the document that said, paid in full. I was going to give it to them tonight, after the cake. That was supposed to be the real announcement. And now, they sat there, beaming, telling me they had just taken out a new loan. A HELOC, against the equity that I had just given them, to send my sister to Germany, and that I was going to pay for it. They hadn't just insulted my 4 years of work. They had, in their blissful, selfish ignorance, taken my ultimate gift and set it on fire just to keep their golden child warm. I looked at the $100 card in my hand. I looked at the envelope in my purse. And for the first time in my life, the "it's fine" smile faded. The fog was gone. I wasn't hurt. I wasn't sad. I was done. The silence at the table stretched, but it was a new kind. It was no longer the awkward tension from before. It was the heavy, expected silence of 3 people waiting for their obedient machine to say, "Yes, of course." They were all smiling at me. My father, with his proud head of the household grin. My mother, with her relieved, problem-solved smile. And Olivia, with her smug, I always get what I want smirk. $1,500 a month, I repeated, my voice quiet. It didn't even tremble. We're a team. My father nodded, encouragingly. That's the spirit, Ava. We all pull our weight. Pull our weight, I echoed. I thought of the all-nighters, the endless lines of code, the skipped meals, the panic attacks I'd managed alone in my apartment at 3 a.m., the loans I'd given them that were never repaid. I'd been pulling the weight for all 4 of them for years. I was the engine, and they were the cargo. I didn't cry. I didn't raise my voice. The rage I expected to feel just wasn't there. All I felt was a sudden, crystal-clear stillness. The decision was made. The connection was severed. The final line of code had been written. "Okay," I said softly. My father's smile widened. "See? I knew you'd understand." "I do," I said. "I finally do." I slowly reached into my purse. My mother probably thought I was getting my phone to set up a new bank transfer. Instead, I pulled out the plain, white legal envelope. I placed it on the table between my father and me. It landed with a soft, final thud. "I was going to give you this," I said, "after cake." My father's brow furrowed. The triumphant look vanished, replaced by confusion. "What's this? Did you get a mother award?" "Sort of," I said. He picked it up. It was thick. He tore open the flap and pulled out the folded documents. His eyes scanned the first page. I watched his face. It was a fascinating, slow-motion cascade of emotions. Confusion, disbelief, and then a sudden, sickly pale. His hand started to shake. "Mark?" my mother said, her voice nervous. "Mark, what is it?" He couldn't speak. He just stared at the paper, his mouth slightly open. "What does it say?" Olivia snapped, annoyed by the interruption to her celebration. My father looked up at me. His eyes were wide. "Ava, what?" "This says, paid in full. This says the mortgage." I spoke into the silence, my voice clear and steady. "It's a deed of reconveyance. From the bank. I paid off the house 3 weeks ago. The entire remaining balance, $114,219.50. It was my graduation gift to you and Mom. I wanted you to be free. I wanted you to be able to retire." My mother's hand flew to her chest. She gasped. You paid?" "The house was free and clear," I continued, my gaze locking on my father's. "It was yours. No more payments. No more debt. That equity you just borrowed against, that was it. That was my gift." I let the words hang in the air. I let them understand exactly what they had done. "You didn't just take out a loan," I said, my voice dropping to just above a whisper. "You took out a loan against my gift. You took the one thing I've spent the last 2 years working to give you, and you handed it to her for a 1-year party in Berlin." Olivia finally understood. "Ava, you had that much money? You've been holding out on us?" I ignored her. I turned my attention to the $100 Visa gift card. My congratulations. I picked it up. I held it between my thumb and forefinger. Then, I slid it across the table. It came to a stop directly on top of the mortgage documents in my father's shaking hand. "Here," I said. "This is my contribution. My first and last payment for Olivia's residency." "You were right, Mom. I won't spend it all in one place." I stood up. My chair made a soft scraping sound on the wooden floor. It was the loudest sound in the world. I picked up my purse. My flight to Portland leaves in 3 hours. My new job starts on Monday. My mother started to stammer, "Ava, wait, honey, we didn't know." "That's the problem," I said, looking at all 3 of them one last time. "You never did." I turned and walked out of the restaurant. I didn't look back. I left them there with the empty champagne glasses, the bill I had already paid, the $100 insult, and the ashes of the gift that was supposed to save them. Landing in Portland felt like my first breath of clean air. My apartment was new, empty, and blessedly quiet. It was a minimalist studio in the Pearl District, all concrete floors and glass. It was mine. I'd bought it with cash. I blocked their numbers before my plane ever took off from Austin. But did you know that when you block a number, the voicemails can still come through? For the first 48 hours, my phone was a non-stop hurricane of their panic. It was like listening to the audio log of a sinking ship. First came the confusion. From my mother, Ava, "Honey, we're still at the restaurant. Where did you go? Did you forget something? Your father is very confused. Call us." Then, the sputtering rage. From my father, about an hour later, "Ava Marie, you get on a plane back to Chicago. Right now. I don't know what kind of sick joke this is, but you have humiliated me. You have humiliated this family. You will not walk away from us." Then, the inevitable tears from Olivia, sent from my dad's phone. "You ruined my life! My one chance! They're canceling the Berlin trip! It's all your fault, you selfish, jealous. You always hated me!" And finally, the pivot to guilt. From my mother, late that night. "Ava, you're killing your father! His stress, his heart. I can't get him to calm down. How could you do this to us? After everything we've done for you, you're ungrateful. You're a poison." I listened to them all, one after another, like a scientist studying a specimen. I felt nothing, just a quiet affirmation that I'd done the right thing. Then the messages stopped for a day. I knew why. The bank. The reality of the HELOC payments must have truly set in. The frantic calls were replaced by a new, more desperate tactic. They started with the extended family. My Aunt Karen called me. "Ava, honey, your mother called me. She's hysterical. She said you had some kind of breakdown and stole all their money? Is everything all right?" I calmly told my aunt, "I didn't steal anything. I paid off their mortgage, and they're angry I won't pay for Olivia's vacation to Germany." The silence on her end was deafening. Then my mother tried social media. A vague Facebook post set to public. So heartbreaking when a child you gave everything to turns their back on you. We are just praying for her safety and her soul. It got exactly the fawning, sympathetic comments she wanted. But the final, most insane escalation happened on my third day in Portland. I was unpacking my books, finally feeling a sense of peace, when there was a loud, heavy knock at my door. Not a neighbor knock, an official knock. I opened it to find 2 Portland police officers. "Ma'am, are you Ava?" one of them asked, hand near his belt. "Yes. We received the call from a Mark in Chicago. He requested a wellness check. He said you're emotionally distressed, possibly a danger to yourself, and not answering your phone." I have never felt rage like that. It was cold. It was pure. They weren't just trying to guilt me. They weren't just trying to shame me. They were trying to use the law to declare me mentally unstable. All to get the ATM working again. I took a deep breath. "Officers, I am perfectly fine. I just graduated from UT Austin. I am starting a senior position at company on Monday. My family is disputing a financial decision I made. I am not a danger to myself. They are just trying to harass me. I showed them my new work ID. I showed them my driver's license. They looked at each other, then back at me. They saw the empty boxes, the new furniture, the complete lack of a distressed person." "Okay, man," the officer sighed. "Sounds like a nasty family situation. Sorry to bother you." They left. I closed the door, locked the deadbolt, and leaned against it, my heart pounding. That was their last bullet. Or so I thought. That night, a video message came through from a number I didn't recognize. It was Olivia. Her face was puffy, her mascara smeared. "Ava," she sniffled. I know we've had our problems, but you're my twin. I miss you. The fake tears stopped, as if a switch had been flipped. Her voice turned cold and hard. "Look, Dad says, if you just co-sign the new loan, we can fix this. He's really mad. Just co-sign it, and we can all just go back to normal. Okay? Just do it, Ava. Please. Then we can be a family again. Go back to normal." I looked at her face on the screen. Normal meant me being invisible. Normal meant me paying for her life. I deleted the video, I blocked the new number, and I went to bed, ready for my new job in the morning. 2 months went by. 2 months of silence. I was thriving. My job in Portland was incredible. My colleagues were brilliant. The work was challenging. And for the first time in my life, I felt seen. I was being judged by my mind and my work ethic, not by my utility to someone else. I was Ava, the senior manager, not Ava, the ATM. I was starting to build a life. And then, one Tuesday afternoon, my desk phone buzzed. It was the front lobby security. "There are 3 individuals here to see you. A Mark, a Susan, and an Olivia. Last name. They say it's a family emergency." My stomach didn't drop. I looked up from my phone, with the door of a walk room, and I turned to the window. "I'll be right down, thank you, Charles," I said. I took the glass elevator down to the atrium. The lobby of this company was a massive 20-story space of steel and reclaimed wood. And standing in the middle of it, looking small, cheap, and utterly out of place, were my family. They looked terrible. My father's face was splotchy and gray. My mother looked like she'd aged 10 years, her eyes puffy and frantic. Olivia was wearing stained sweatpants, her hair a mess, her expression a mask of pure sullen rage. The polished tech professionals walking by gave them a wide berth. They spotted me. My mother rushed forward. "Ava! Oh, thank God!" She tried to grab my arm. I stepped back. "What are you doing here?" I asked. My voice wasn't angry, it was just flat. "What are we doing here?" My father boomed, and several people in the lobby turned to look. "We're here to save our home." "The home you destroyed." "I paid for your home," I said calmly. "You tricked us," he shot back, his voice rising. "You let us take out that loan. The bank, they won't renegotiate. The payments, we missed the first one. They're talking foreclosure. Ava, do you understand what that means? It means you spent money you didn't have," I said. "This is your fault." Olivia finally shrieked, pointing a finger at me. "You did this. You had all that secret money. You could have just shared it, but you wanted to be selfish. You wanted to see me fail." I looked at my twin sister. Really looked at her. "No, Olivia," I said, my voice cutting through her hysterics. "I didn't want you to fail. I just stopped paying for you to succeed." I turned to my parents. "I already did fix it. I gave you a house, a home, free and clear, a foundation. You chose to set that foundation on fire. You chose to gamble my gift on her trip to Berlin. You made a bad bet. We are your parents," my mother cried, tears starting to flow. "We did everything for you. We supported you. We fed you. You did the bare minimum," I interrupted. "And my scholarship supported me. My job supported me. While you took the money I sent home and funneled it into her." My father took a step closer. He tried to use his intimidating dad voice. "You will fix this, Ava. You will call that bank, you will co-sign that loan, or you will pay it off. It's your duty as a daughter." I looked at this man, this stranger, and I finally said the words I'd been holding in for 22 years. "I'm not your daughter, not in the way you mean. I am not your ATM. I am not your therapist. And I am not your safety net for your bad decisions." I gestured to the vast, busy lobby around us. This is what I built. While you were busy investing in her potential, I was investing in my work. This is the result of my achievements. And it belongs to me. My father's face turned a shade of purple I had never seen. You ungrateful, Charles," I said, speaking to the security guard who was already walking over. "These 3 people are trespassing. They are harassing an employee. Please see them out." Yes. The shock on their faces, it was almost worth it. They were speechless. "You can't do this," my mother whispered, horrified. "I already did," I said. I turned around and walked toward the elevators as the security guard stepped between us. I heard them start to yell. I heard Olivia call me a monster. I heard my father threatening to sue me. I heard my mother just sobbing. I didn't look back. I stepped into the elevator, the glass doors sliding shut, silencing their voices for good. As I rode back up to my office, I looked out over the city of Portland. It took me 22 years to learn that family isn't a blank check. It isn't an obligation to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. It's supposed to be forgotten achievement at a time. They saw my success not as my accomplishment, but as their new resource. They didn't see me. They saw a solution to their problems. That night in Austin, I didn't just pay off their mortgage. I paid off my own debt, the emotional debt I'd been carrying my whole life, the one that said I had to earn my place by being useful. I lost the family I was born into, but I finally gained myself. And I've learned that self-respect is the one home that no one can ever take a loan out on.